Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope you're all doing great and you all know what are the rules of attending this asynchronous class. You're supposed to have your stationery, your workbook, and your learner's book by your side. Okay, so you all know what is written on the screen, what is being displayed. It's rules and exceptions, right? So, you know that in our daily life, we have this balance of rules and exception. So, for example, in Islam, like you and I, all of us fast during the month of Ramadan. Fast during Ramadan. But there are some people who have an exception. And who are those? Who are sick or traveling. So they do not fast that day or make up for it later. So there is simply a balance in Islam as well between rules and exception. All right. So similarly in English, we have such things which show quite a different behavior. And what is that thing in English grammar which is showing a different behavior? That is a verb. Do you know what is a verb? I would like you to recall the definition of a verb. What a verb is. Quickly. Yes. Verb is the word that shows an action or that represents the state. For example, if I'm saying she is happy, this word is representing the state. Is representing what? The state. That how is she feeling? In which state she is? Hence, I would be saying that there is a verb in this sentence. And where is the verb? The verb is. This is the verb which is showing the state. But when I say she walks, in this sentence, walks is representing what? An action. Walks is representing an action that the girl is walking on her two legs. Okay, so it is also a verb. So an action can be a verb or a word that represents the state. It can also be a verb. Let's move on and talk about how verbs can behave differently. How can there be exceptions when we are saying that there can be an exception in verbs and they can follow the rules? What do we mean by that? Right? So, just like I told you that Muslims fast during the whole month of Ramadan, but there are some exceptions. Some people do not fast. Why? Because they are sick. All right. So, on some days, on a few days, all right, because they're sick, they're old, or they are traveling. So there are multiple reasons. So Islam gives exception over there. All right. Similarly, whenever a verb is converted, changed into past tense, there are exceptions. For example, if I have this verb look, when I change it into past tense, what does it become? It becomes looked. Similarly, if I have this word walk, what will be the past tense of walk? What would it be? It would be walked. What happened? What changes did I make in these two verbs? I added ed after it. So it means that whenever I have to make the past tense of a verb, I will simply add ed to it. Am I right? Yeah, I think so. What about the verb argue? What would be the past tense of argue? It would be argued. So what did I add? I added a D after the word argue. See how simple it is to make past tense of the verbs. Let's look at the few other examples. So I can say that there is a rule, and the rule says if you want to make past tense, you will take the verb and you will add ed to it or a d to it. If you will add these two suffixes to the verbs, they will become, they will take their past form, they will become a past tense, they will turn into past tense. So it means that for every verb, I'm going to add ed to it or a d to it. So, okay, let's implement it. Let's implement it. What about the word come? What would be the past tense of come? Would it be comed? This looks a little odd, don't you guys think? So what could it be? Can it be came? Yeah, that's correct. It would be came. But there is this question. Why isn't it following the pattern of the addition of ed? Why? Why isn't this here? It means that there are some exceptions. What about the word catch? What would be the past form of catch? Yes, what would it be? Would it be catched? Would it be catched? Sorry, not catches. Would it be catched? No, not at all. It looks odd. So what would it be? It would be caught. Oh, isn't that different? It's not following the pattern that we actually follow. Like, it's simply the addition of ed. Why isn't it there? All right, let's look at a few more examples. Let's look at a few more example. Can you think what would be the past tense of see? What would be the past tense of see? I think it would be seed. Uh-oh. But do you know that seed is the grain that we use to plant trees? Don't you think so? So is seed a verb? No. So we would say that it's not the verb. Then what would be the past tense of see? Would it be saw? Yes, you got it right. So you see there are multiple examples of verbs which are not following the rule that we just discussed. The rule was this, that whenever you have to change it into past tense, you simply add ed or uh, d to it. But some verbs are not following this rule. What about this verb be? What about the verb be? Do you know what be is? Be is also a verb. All right, it is the root word, it is the base for is, am, are in present, was, were in past, and will or shall in future. So this be is also not following the pattern. Shouldn't it have been be'd when you have to convert it into past tense? No. Why is it was or were? Why is it completely irregular? Like for its present tense, for its past, its future, it's completely changed because it's following an irregular pattern. For such verbs, for such verbs which do not follow a proper pattern, we use a specific word, and that specific word in English is irregular verbs. Okay, so what are irregular verbs? Irregular verbs are the verbs which do not follow the rule. They have an exception, and the exception is that you cannot add ed or d to them. They have their own form. All right, so such verbs are irregular verbs. Let's practice something. Please take out your workbooks. You are requested to take out your workbook, page number 148. So I'm going to read it for you all. So this is looking at verbs. 7.6, looking at verbs. Language focus. To make the past tense of most verbs, you add ed or d. So whenever you have to convert any verb into its past tense, you add ed or d to it. For example, for look, it would be looked by the addition of ed. And for argue, it would be argued with the addition of D only. But some verb forms don't follow this rule. So there are some exceptions which do not follow this rule. And they are known as what? They are known as irregular verbs. This is important. Alright. What are they called? They are called as irregular verbs. For example, from sink, we convert it into sank. From go, the past tense is went. Alright? Went is the past tense of go. So, in other words, when I would be saying singed, would I be using proper English? No, that would be incorrect. So let's move on and focus on the exercise questions. The very first question is circle the correct verb to make sentences in the simple past tense. So you have to select the word that is used in the simple past tense, all right? And you have to circle that. For example, the first one is going to be done by me for you all. First one is the first one is I sleep or slept until my alarm went off. What do you think is the correct form between the two, sleep or slept? It's slept. Great. So you will be doing these three. I'm giving you 2 minutes quickly. After that, we have question number 2. Write the simple past tense verb in each of the sentences. So you have to write a verb of your own choice which fits perfectly in these blanks. For example, let me do the first one for you. You will be doing the remaining two. For example, we dash a cake for tea. So I would be writing eat. No, no. Eat is not the past tense. No, 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 no. The past tense of eat is ate. I ate a cake for tea. Yeah, I think that's correct. Yay, I did it. Correct. All right. So you will be doing these two as well on your own. Then we have the practice exercise. So in this exercise, the verb to be, they have told you that the verb be is an irregular verb as I discussed with you guys right now. Okay, so keeping that in mind, we have to complete the table. On this side, on your left, there is present tense, and on your right side, you have past tense. So in the column, I am is the present tense. What would be the past tense of I am? It would be I was. Similarly, you have you are on your left side, which is present tense. What would be the past tense of you are? I will be doing it for you. You were. Great. Then we have he is. Change it into past tense and write it over here on your own. After that, turn to the next page. And for it is, what is the past tense of it is? You would be writing here. For we are, it is we were. For they are, it is. You are going to write it on your own. After that, we have a challenging question. Here is the real challenge of what you have learned up till now. So question number 4 is write the family verb for each of these irregular verbs. Alright. So they have already given the irregular verbs and you have to recognize what is the real or actual verb for it. Alright. For example, for came, the verb is come. For bought, what would be the verb, actual verb for bought? Would it be break? No, not at all. What would be the actual verb for it? Buy. That's correct. So buy is the actual verb. We call it root verb as well, root word as well. So one more thing to notice over here is that they have added to before it. Do you get it? That they have added to before the base verb. So remember, whenever in English grammar you have to before any verb, it will always follow the first form of verb or the root word or the actual verb. Actual word, alright? So similarly, for eight, you have to write its actual verb or the root word over here. For gave, you have to write the word over here. For spoke, over here. For made, here. For grew, you will be writing here. For ran, you will be writing here. So that's all. After this, what you will be doing is your graded classwork. What is your graded classwork? On Schoolgram, I have uploaded a quiz. All right. Alright, so you will be going to your Schoolgram page. Over there, I have uploaded a very fun activity for you, alright, for irregular verbs. It's a quiz. There are 5 questions that have been uploaded. You have to select the correct answer, and also how much do you think that the answer that you have selected is correct. All right, if it's more than 80%, like you think that it's 100% correct, I am completely right, and I know that you will be selecting that option, and below it there is a small box in which check is written. You have to click that button, and after completing all the 5 questions, you are gonna finish this quiz and submit the answers. All right, there will be a score that will appear in front of you. Even all right, after that, there will be a score that will appear in front of you. Okay, so according to your answers, I will be grading your classwork, and that rubrics will be pasted in your notebooks. Got my point? So thank you so much for attending today's class. I will see you all soon, inshallah. Till then, take care.